Hey everyone, good morning. We are live for our Wednesday wake up. We are so excited to do a fun recap of major takeaways of the Teach Better conference, share some fun announcements that were shared over this last weekend at the Teach Better conference, and so much more. So we will be right back. It's time to go grab your coffee, friends. Hey everyone, we are live for our Wednesday wake up post Teach Better 2022. Katie Miglin, who essentially planned the entire conference, is in the house. Katie, good morning.
Good morning, friends. Happy Wednesday. Long time no see.
Long time no see. I know Wednesday wake up was, when it was created, was all about like persevering through your week. So we would touch base with our community like halfway through the week and give you that jolt, that boost of energy, that positivity, all that stuff. And I feel like we might need it this week.
Yeah, I'm driving the struggle bus. I don't know about anybody else, but I think it's also like the weather is shifted, especially where we're at. It's getting darker, so it's like dark when we wake up. It's dark for a while. I don't know. I just feel like I'm like struggling in the morning. It's taking me a lot longer to wake up these days. I don't know about anybody else.
I know. And I know that people say you can't catch up on sleep, but coming off of a experience like Teach Better 2022, where most people got in on Thursday, you're really not sleeping Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You probably had a flight or a long drive on Sunday, and then you're like back at it for the week. So Wednesday might feel like a struggle this morning, but hey, like we're here to maybe give you a little boost of energy, and we'll see. We'll do our best, friends. No promises.
Right. Brianna Fennel is in the comments. Good morning, Brianna. She is asking, did we sleep? And I think the answer is not much. Not much at all.
I mean, I tried to sleep. I tried to sleep a little bit. I've been sick, so I feel like I've been trying to like catnap when I can.
Yes,
So,
agreed. Agreed.
yeah. Friends, if you were not at Teach Better 2022, that's okay. We missed you. We would
Yeah.
love to make sure that some major takeaways, some inside jokes that were shared get shared with this community so you can be a part of all that fun and still learn along with us. We hope that you followed the Teach Better 22 hashtag because there was a lot going on. I know specifically on Twitter, specifically on Instagram, there was a whole lot. And then since the conference, there's been a whole lot of reflections that have been posted all over the place, like Facebook and all other social media platforms. So we have a cute little recap video here that Ryan, who is Jackie, our incredible Teach Better ambassador, her husband made for us. And we'd love to kind of highlight that real quick. We'll be right back.
That you were able to get as much out of this event as possible. I hope that you were able to gather that Teach Better approach, that like, yes, learning is great and learning is essential, but we also are a community that are better together, whether we are physically together or virtually connected. And I hope you know that whether we do this event again or not, this will never be something that any of us ever forget.
Katie, that video highlighted so many things that I loved about the event.
I know. I feel like it definitely like gives you still the chills and it still like gives you all the feelings back, and like the little things that you remember in the moment, but maybe you had forgotten by Saturday because there was so much going on. It was super cool.
Well, and okay, first off, I have to give another shout out. So Ryan, the incredible photographer that made that video, just so happened to be at the conference because his wife was attending. Jackie was an essential volunteer in our family. She did so much at the registration desk and as a room manager. He just was there and made that video for us for free. And we are just so unbelievably like appreciative, and just I was like choking up thanking him on Saturday when he said it to us. So if any of you need a videographer or photographer in Illinois, or if you want to fly him out to a different destination, he is so good at grabbing those like emotions, which I just want to applaud him for and be so thankful for all the work he did. So just a cool thing there. But I loved watching it and seeing all the people, right? These are our people in this video.
Yeah, it was cool to see that he was really able to capture so many people. You know, sometimes you go to events and there's like a highlight reel and it seems to be like the same kind of group or the same like room, but he really like there was a shot that I'm like in the background and I was like, I don't even remember him standing near us. Like he was so like, you know, just in the background, and he just captured little things. And he just, I don't know if you noticed him, but he just like carried his camera. And I think he was filming all the time, but he made it look so casual that people just like continued. It wasn't like, you know, when you see on the news where people are in the background, like, hey, like everyone just continued. And so he got so many like cool moments.
Yeah.
I don't know if you notice, Rae, but the comments are like blowing up of things that people are noticing. Yes, we agree. Ryan is the best. Nikki really wants to give shout out to the guy on crutches.
Wait, so this was an incredible teacher. I won't necessarily share his name because I don't know that he wants me to, but he works in Great Oaks, which is one of the schools that we're fortunate enough to work with outside of Cincinnati. He wanted to be at that conference so badly. Katie, he's one of the ones that registered like 3 days before the conference, because I was texting him being like, dude, you got to get there. He's an incredible high school teacher that works in a vocational setting, and his classroom is one to see if any of you want to go visit Great Oaks community.
Well, yeah, he was awesome. I interacted with him a little bit, and honestly, we interacted because of his crutches, because he like had to crutch over for lunch, and then he crutched away, and then he crutched back because he needed something. So, but Nikki, we are thinking of you. Nikki fell right after the conference and is also on crutches. So now she understands what that is like.
Nikki was so cool meeting you in person.
Oh my gosh.
Like so many of the people in our comments, I know it's probably irrelevant to the show, but I just have personal excitement to now see you posting where I'm like, Nikki, thanks for the hug a few days ago. It was so fun. Nikki was somebody that also showed up on Thursday to help us set up in that whirlwind of that 2-hour setup that we had. So yes. I just don't know what we do without all of the incredible people that were there and just did so much. I know Holly's the one that's commenting saying that she hung up so many Wi-Fi signs. So fun.
That was super fun. Mickey Smith Jr., that was something that was highlighted on the reel. Unbelievable. I'm still seeing videos posted of him throughout the conference as, you know, people are posting their little takeaways or whatever. But what I loved about Mickey, and, you know, we can talk about other keynotes, but what I loved about Mickey is he had already a piece that people were drawn to. He had the music piece. So people were immediately interested because it was like, wait, he has a saxophone. And he started his keynote coming out on stage with a saxophone, which was so cool in and of itself. But then his message like resonated with people. I heard people talking about it still Saturday afternoon. And honestly, Rae, I mean, that you can't get much more perfect than that, honestly.
Okay, it's so funny because I described his keynote yesterday to my mother when I saw her, and I described it the opposite. I was like, he already had a great message, an incredible story. He was reflective on his time as he continues to be a full-time music teacher, growing up with his grandmother, everything else. And then he incorporated a saxophone, and that just blew my mind. And I have to say, friends, I've seen a lot of keynotes. His is the best keynote of all time. If you are looking to bring Mickey into your school district, you can actually do that through us because he's one of the speakers through our speakers network. And it was the most motivational speech I think I have ever been a part of. And oh my gosh, do I love the saxophone.
Yeah. Honestly, like, which I like am speechless about it. Like there were so many people who like were like moved to tears, and I don't know. I feel like, you've been to conferences, everyone's been to conferences at some point in their life. And keynotes are great. They're often like very inspirational, but that was like it was amazing.
Okay, so I will say, and I'm not trying to, I don't know whose horn I'm tooting here, but I just want to make sure that we highlight this. Not only was Mickey's keynote on Saturday morning the best keynote that ever existed in any conference ever, point like hands down. I will say that, and I will hold to it. But also, Mickey Smith Jr. and Janine Letford, our two featured keynotes that were part of this event, came to every single networking event, went to as many sessions as there were opportunities to attend sessions,
Yep.
and were present from Thursday at setup. They came to Thursday setup all the way to Saturday night at the bar, the last networking. I don't know how else to celebrate the fact that that encompasses the Teach Better Conference approach. Because I see that in the comments we have of people commenting, Brianna Shaner, Adams in here, the people that attended like we wanted them to get the full experience. They were at every single stinking thing. And that's what we love. We want you to be able to watch a presentation, learn alongside somebody, and then also like have dinner with them that night and get a beer, all in this like encompassing community. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think, I was explaining to my neighbor who was a former educator, and I said the difference is, you go to conferences that are thousands and thousands of people, and I feel like I'm guilty of this, but I want to stay with my group. It's like whoever I traveled with, it's like, hey, what session are you going to? Let's try to go to this one together. And there is some of that collaboration. It's like the idea that if you go listen to the same message, then maybe you can bring it back to your school together. Here was what was cool about Teach Better is you had people going by themselves all over, but when someone walked into a session, they didn't feel alone. They immediately could walk in. Everyone was a familiar face. They could sit down with whoever. They could collaborate with whoever. I mean, that was something that was new to me. I did not go to 2019. We won't talk about where I was at. I was at a different conference, but being there this weekend, it was like, you can't describe it. You have to live it. You have to be in that moment, just walking down the hall and literally seeing people that I'm like, I know your first name or I met you yesterday, but like, it doesn't feel like a new relationship. It feels like we've been friends for a while. That is something that is unlike anywhere else, because it's not. I mean, when you go to big, huge conferences, you don't get that feeling.
Yeah, and that's something that we value. I know we said it 100 times as we were preparing for the conference on live, saying, friends, we want this to be small and intimate. I loved the number that we landed on. We had about 300. And I'm so excited to do a recap with our team because I feel like that felt like it was meant to be. I know we were willing to welcome in more. I think that was just our sign from wherever, like the sign from above. It was the perfect feel. I got to personally have a one-on-one conversation with every single person there. And that was my dream. I told you that 100 times, Katie. I'm like, I just want to talk to every single person. And I feel like it just felt like a family hangout, even though it was our 300 best friends.
Right. I know it. Yeah. So many good comments. Was there all weekend. Never really felt alone. Thank you, Erin, for sharing. Oh, now they're scrolling. There's so many just being like emotionally moved during Janine's and Mickey's and Dave's. I mean, there were so many good keynotes. So Dave Schmidt.
Wait, I want to talk about his keynote later because we have a specific thing we want to do to highlight him. But
I will pause my excitement towards Dave's keynote.
But my answer is yes. We're going to talk about Dave's keynote later. Why don't we transition, Katie, a smidge to like big announcements we made? There were 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 like major announcements that we made. I don't know how many, 2 of which come to mind right now that I feel like we should talk about here with this community. One is, spoiler alert, this community probably hasn't seen Jeff Gargas in a long time. And I want to make sure we like maybe address that finally, because it feels weird. Does anyone else feel weird? We miss you, Jeff. Does anyone else feel like they're like needing some Jeff Gargas TLC? Can I just like raise a hand?
I feel like people might have thought this Wednesday wake up was going to be Rae and Jeff, and instead they've gotten me for weeks. So I apologize, people.
Well,
this is as good as it's going to get.
You've been standing in. Josh has been standing in. Those of you who've been familiar with the show, you know, you met Aaron Stack the other day. Like, we have great team members contributing to the show, but we did like maybe say that this is going to be Jeff and I most weeks, and he's been gone. I think we're at the point where we're at 6 or 7 weeks so far, and I feel like we want to make sure we address it to our family in case you may not be familiar. Jeff Gargas is not gone. I feel like so many people are like, did you guys fire Jeff Gargas? Like, there's no firing Jeff Gargas. He owns the company, guys. Like, he's not going anywhere. He's like one of our best friends. I know he's one of my deepest best friends. He has had a whirlwind of things going on in his world that we are trying to be supportive in making sure he has the time and autonomy to go handle. We are sending his family our deepest love and support. One thing is that he's recently become quite ill, but he's getting way better. We got a super good report the other day, and per doctor's orders, he's still at home resting, but he is at home. He is resting. He's surrounded by wonderful people, and we are hoping, if you could keep your fingers crossed, please, for me, we are hoping he will start transitioning back into a role where you will get to see him more frequently over the next 3 weeks. So I just wanted to make sure we finally talked about it. For a while. It wasn't appropriate. We were trying to give him some space, but then at the Teach Better conference, we had this like big old card that everybody signed for him. So I feel like it was important to share with our whole community, but he's doing well. He's on the up and up. And no, guys, there's literally no getting rid of him. Like, he has to still be everything Teach Better, so don't worry.
Yes, this is true. Yeah, totally miss him. It was not the same this weekend without him, but we're going to keep trucking and we're going to keep thinking of him, but allowing him the space to heal and take care of himself.
Can we do an embarrassing shout out, because you know this happened, but I think you and I and only one other person knows, that he called us during the conference and was like, hey, if you come pick me up, I could be in a wheelchair with my IVs and I could say hi to people. And Katie and I were like, no, no.
The best part was I had been telling Rae, you guys don't know this, but I've been telling Rae last week. Last week felt like the first week of school where you start to have all those dreams of what ifs. So literally every night I would be like, I'd wake up like, oh, this is a what if that might happen at the conference. One morning I woke up and I texted Rae and I was like, I had a dream that Jeff showed up at the conference, but was in like a hospital gown and like attached to things and just was like walking around, and no one thought it was weird. And I was like, can we just make sure that's not a reality? And then he texted and I was like, no, he cannot come, please.
Well, I knew that he knew he wasn't healthy enough to be there. And honestly, I think the energy would have hurt him and had him regress, which is why we decided to not allow that to happen. But internally, Jeff Gargas not being at this conference, I know, was like killing him inside. So we tried to have him there virtually as much as possible. We had like a funny GIF of him like with different faces, and we did a lot of Jeff Gargas love at the event. So if you yourself want a little maybe like action item, do a little Jeff Gargas love today. And he finally is able to be on social media, look at his phone. That was kind of an issue for a while. So if you even like tweet at him, he now should be able to see that. So again, all those warm messages, those DMs, they definitely don't hurt. So we appreciate all of you making this work for us. So we know it's not the same without him. I miss him too.
Mm-hmm. Your Wednesdays are not the same with Katie Miglin. I'm just saying.
It's so true. Definitely not the same. Shenanigans are different. I feel like we're more professional without Jeff.
Do you? Because sometimes I feel like we're the other extreme. Maybe it just depends on the day.
Maybe it just depends on the day. The other announcement we were able to say was that ambassador applications are finally opening November 1st, which really applies to a lot of you here. If you're choosing to be with us and Wednesday wake up and spend your mornings together. If you chose to come to the Teach Better conference, even if you consider yourselves a part of the Teach Better family, choosing to be an ambassador might be the right step for you. So we have a little clip we want to play right now to get you excited, but everything comes out November 1st, and we are happy to answer any and all questions. You know that Katie and I will spill all the secrets we can. So while I play this clip, if you have a question about ambassador applications, throw them in the comments. This is big news, Katie. We haven't opened applications for over a year, and we are finally opening up ambassador applications. I am so excited to finally have this available to so many of our team members.
I agree. It was fun to talk to so many ambassadors. You know, as a team member, you hear about the ambassadors. I see them obviously in our comments. I see them in their private group. So there's been lots of interactions, but to actually like see them and see their personalities this weekend, and then actually like hear their stories. So many of them were presenters, or, you know, just talking to them, I was like, oh man, this ambassador group is a special group. So if that is something that speaks to you, I would strongly encourage it, because you'll create another network in a more intimate way that will continue to help you grow for sure.
Well, so let's highlight that. Obviously, there's a lot of parts of the ambassador program. It's actually a really big, cohesive group.
Yes.
But I won't be able to highlight it all. But some major takeaways. One is that there are a ton of Teach Better team discounts if you're an ambassador.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably just leave that there. Everything from swag to professional development, bringing the Teach Better into your school or event, just discounts on discounts. Okay. The second is that it has exclusive events that are only accessible to ambassadors. So they have exclusive professional development every single month with different people around the world. Mickey Smith Jr. even considers like doing one. There's a lot of people in our community are able to share. There's also exclusive hangouts every single month where everyone just comes together virtually and talk shops, hang out. Like it's just kind of fun. Everyone with their families gets to hang out. The new thing that I know I'm so excited about is that there is an incredible mentor program, so that when you are inducted in as an ambassador, you're actually partnered with a mentor ambassador to not only walk you through the ambassador process, but also walk you through any sort of mentorship that you're looking to achieve. So maybe you're a new educator, maybe you're in a new leadership role. We actually partner you with somebody that can be a partner with you as you move throughout your educational career. And I love this because if that person isn't the right fit for you to help in that specific area, that person helps partner you with somebody else who can. So it's just a great opportunity for everybody to stay connected and be a part of this crew.
Absolutely. There are a ton of comments specifically from our current ambassadors, just talking about how it was life altering, and it's a family. I've heard that word multiple times being referenced as a family. But it's super cool just to see from the outsider, if that's even the right word. I mean, we're connected to them, but just being able to watch them and, you know, hear their stories and hear how they're connected and work together is so cool. I'm so impressed with Megan and Andrea and all of their hard work. You guys, we got to watch Megan and Andrea in person working together, and it was one of the hundreds of highlights up from the weekend. But there were so many times that I just stood and watched the two of them, and I'm like, this is why the ambassador group is so cool, because they work so well together. They counter each other perfectly, and they're incredible. So
That
love
duo is
them,
so
love
good.
ambassadors.
I will say also, we use our ambassadors as like our guinea pigs all the time, which I really value because we're looking to like test something out or roll something out. And so we throw it at our ambassadors to get their immediate reactions. They've been so valuable recently in focus groups. I know we have 2 coming up over the next few weeks for them to just like spew out every idea that they have and give us some feedback. And I love that they're able to kind of get the inside scoop before anybody else and kind of help craft what all of you see from the Teach Better team. Obviously, not just the Wednesday Wake Up Show, but anything that you see coming from teachbetter.com, the ambassadors more often than not have some sort of voice in. So it's kind of as close as you can get as being a contributor. So I encourage you all to consider applying. It opens November 1st. It's open all month long because we want to make sure you have time. Submitting an application, just as an FYI, won't take more than 15 minutes. So the only reason it's open that long is to give you the time to choose when those 15 minutes occur in your life. So feel free to do that, but that will be open until the 27th of November, just after the U.S. Thanksgiving. And then we will be alerting our new crew of ambassadors at the top of the new year. I will say, as a reminder, if you are currently an ambassador, unless you hold an ambassador leadership role, you do have to reapply. So I know a lot of you listening in the comments right now have leadership roles within the ambassador program. So then you're safe. You don't need to apply. But this is going to be something brand new that we'll have ambassadors reapply. We're really excited for that. So it'll be good. It's a small group. So if you don't get accepted the first time, apply again in the future. I just want to, that's the only thing, Katie. I hate anything you have to apply for, like, makes me nervous. I know people might get upset if they don't get accepted, but it's a very small group intentionally. So we'll see.
Right. Small but mighty.
Small but mighty. I know we are super late on a lot of things that we were going to do for the show, but Katie, maybe we could go into teachable moments real quick and then go into that community spotlight so we can talk about Dave.
I would love to.
We'll be back. All right, Katie, we're going to do this down and dirty, and I want to ask you point blank, if you had to identify one teachable moment you took away from Teach Better 2022 this past weekend, what would it be?
I knew you were going to ask it. Oh, I should have prepped better. One.
There's so many, so good luck. I have a million, but I have like 3 for sure, but I don't know how to pick one.
Can you go first? Okay, it's right. I'm going to remind you, it's 6:28 in our time, and I'm not quite through my coffee, and I'm driving the struggle bus. So you go first. Let me process. And
so thinking about my teachable moments, thinking about my takeaways from Teach Better 2022, and if you are in the comments, we'd love to hear yours and like a 1-sentence recap if you can. I know that there were a lot of takeaways. One of which I just saw in the comments was like the message of Mickey's keynote, like keep on going. All that's good. However, I think if I had to identify one moment, it would be the realization, even though I think I knew this before, but maybe the realization of how important it is to be a connected educator. That like kind of encompasses all the sessions I was able to see, all the keynotes I was able to experience, all the moments at networking. Like, I can't describe to you how impactful it is to be in a conference of a few hundred people and then see those few hundred people just move to a restaurant to continue discuss. Like, I've never been so in awe of being a connected educator, because during this event, I not only was able to see my friends, right, my virtual friends in real life, but I was able to connect other virtual friends in real life that hadn't connected and introduce them and create more of those connections. And that's how we become better. Like, it wasn't just one session or one message. It was the unification of all these people. I'm just still baffled, honestly.
Well, I think that's where I struggle to like truly articulate one teachable moment, because you go to a conference, we've all done it. You go to a conference, you come back and your district says like, what was the thing that you're going to do or change? And it's very specific. I'm going to do this in my classroom. And I think that's where I struggle, is because it wasn't a single session. It wasn't a single message. It wasn't even a single conversation. It was literally standing at any point knowing that I'm surrounded by not just like-minded people, and that, it wasn't tunnel vision where I'm like the same as everyone else. It was, we're all in this to be better, and we're going to challenge each other. And there's no negative feelings around that. It was like, I'm going to challenge your thinking because I know you want to be better. And it was that times 300 people. And I think that is what was super cool, is also just feeling comfortable. We were there in some regards. I was explaining this to somebody, like, it was our job. Like, we were hosting it. I never once felt like I was at my job. Like, I actually joked with a couple people. I was like, I tricked them into paying me to do this because it's so fun. And so you just felt comfortable around people. You felt comfortable to engage in conversations all the time, make those connections. And it was just a feeling. I kept saying it was a vibe, and it's so hard to explain. But yeah, the way you said it was just being able to make connections is so important to what we do every day.
So I know I'm going to butcher her name, but adding to this, the authenticity of people showing up as themselves and being proud of who they were as individuals was, I know this added to it might be an additional thing, but like, that was something I have mad respect for. Like, I know people walked in the first day nervous, and that's okay. Like, you could be nervous, like walking into a new environment. There's a lot of unknowns. I totally understand. I know a lot of people, even in the comments, have DM'd me being like, I was so nervous on Thursday, but by Saturday, I feel like I came out of my shell. I sat in on Mary Beth. Is it Mary Beth Edwards? Edmonds. I sat in on her session, and she is an incredible educator. She was talking about a very personal experience to make her point during her session. And I did something very similar in my session. I know that a lot of other people did too. I loved that people were willing to be who they are and vulnerable at an event, because I just think the stories and the messages come across so authentically and real that way. I just loved people showing up as they are and not showing up as who they thought they were supposed to be, which I know sometimes we walk into schools and we're like, oh, I have to put on this face to be here. I didn't like get that vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't get the vibe, but I also didn't get, but I think that's what made it special, because I didn't get like, everyone was just so genuinely excited to be there, but to grow. It wasn't like, oh, let's go and goof off for 3 days. Our district just sent us, haha. Like, it was, I'm so excited to be here because I know I'm going to walk away a better person. And that it was amazing to see with such a large group, because everyone kind of had that feeling, that intent. I mean, just looking at the comments, honestly, is bringing back a lot of that, like being able to bring joy back into our classrooms and getting our cups filled, and being able to meet people that we have connected with virtually. It was cool, but the safe space to share and be real, I felt that in every session I attended. I felt that in every interaction I had, that we're not alone in our teaching philosophy. I mean, there were so many things that I felt like were kind of just resonating in that weekend, because I can't even say in the venue because it happened at the restaurants at night. So yeah, it was cool. So I will say my biggest exciting moment was Lindsay Titus came and found me. Lindsay Titus, I had known through, the world of virtual.
She's also part of our speakers network.
Yep, exactly. So like, we knew Lindsay, right? She's like amazing. We knew that. She found me after there was a little bit of a snafu with lunch. I was a little stressed about it. She came to me and gave me one of her "don't let this define you" moments. And I literally looked at her and I said, "Did I just get a Lindsay Titus like speech?" And she's like, "Yep." And I was like, done, done. I'm so happy. So, but it was like just a perfect moment. Like she could tell I was stressed. She, came and found me and she's like, "Don't let this define your day and don't let this define you." And I was like, "Lindsay, you're the best." But it was
Anytime,
that often. It was so cool.
anytime you can have a Lindsay Titus moment. I love that Andrea's reminded me she's an ambassador. Can we clarify for the world? Lindsay Titus is every single thing you can be within Teach Better. She
Right.
participates in Admin Mastermind, Edupreneur Mastermind. She's an ambassador. She's on our speakers network. She's a guest blogger and she's a podcaster. Lindsay Titus is all things, friends, all things.
It is. That's why I didn't even give her a description because I was like, we'll be here for 2 hours to describe how amazing and involved she is. But you guys, she's also the most humble person ever. She is so down to earth.
I felt that way from 99% of the people I met where I was like,
Yes.
why do none of you know how amazing you are? I'll just tell you all the time. That's another takeaway. My other takeaway is that I need to just continue telling all of our Teach Better family and community how phenomenal they are. And for those people that I didn't know very well, I loved having the space to get to know them at this event.
Yes.
That was another thing that I just really value is I had a few people that I like knew their face, but like they've always been in passing or they're like an acquaintance of an acquaintance that I feel like I actually had time to talk to them and get to know them as human beings, which again, another thing I loved. I don't know. So good.
I know. I feel like we could go on, but we should probably talk about Dave's keynote because that was pretty epic.
It was so good. Let's get to our community spotlight. All right, friends, this is the real moment.
Are you gonna like start a run? Are you going for a run?
No, my head's exploding because I have a sinus infection. No, here's the real thing. Like, we have to talk about Dave's keynote because obviously Dave's a part of our team. Obviously, we all love Dr. Dave Schmittou, but holy cow, he did, and I don't think it was more than 15 minutes, maybe 20-minute keynote. Like, it was not. First of all, a lot of you may not know this. We like cut his keynote in half because of an issue we had earlier in the day. We won't even talk about that. But the point is that Dave Schmittou prepared a keynote that then we were like, hey, can you do it in like half the time and still make it good? And he, in his own like Dave Schmittou way, he had his hat on. He was like, sure, right? No big deal.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it was so impactful. So we want to highlight Dr. Dave really quick as a community feature. We're going to talk about the keynote here in a second. But for those of you who may not be familiar with Dr. Dave, I would definitely go connect with him. He is the Director of Leadership and Development, obviously on our team. And when we asked him what he loved about education, he says he loves celebrating the growth, creativity, and collective collaboration of students and staff. Nothing gives him goosebumps quite like seeing someone reflect on their past practice and embrace the need for real change. So massive shout out to the one and only Dr. Dave, who also just put out a book within the past month or so called Poking the Bear with Caitlin Giordano. So lots to celebrate with Dr. Dave. Katie, what was your experience like during Dave's keynote? Because he really did create an experience for our attendees. Where were you during that keynote? I don't think we were together.
I don't think we were together either. Okay, full transparency. I knew he was going, but if you remember, the lights had to be turned off. And I knew what his keynote was about, but in that brief moment, I had forgotten it. And I literally had this moment of panic where I was like, why are all the lights off? Because I got nervous. And then I literally like just turned and looked and I was like, oh, it's Dave's keynote. Like it just felt so perfect. But the most powerful thing was reading. So for those of you who weren't there, he had these descriptions and people held up lights and watching. I was in the way back and watching people's lights come up as the descriptions and like some of those really powerful statements, seeing the number of lights going up it gave me chills, which I wasn't expecting, because I knew, it was like when you know the planning and you knew what it was going to be about, but then like seeing it in the moment, it was really, really powerful.
Yeah, so they're holding up lights if the statement applied to them,
Yes.
right? So it was
Yes.
an endless stream of statements, and as an educator, you needed to be reflective and say, does this apply to me? Does this mean something to me? And they essentially held up their phones. And I have to tell you, I am such a massive fan of educators in any setting, whether you're doing a 20-minute presentation to 4 people or a keynote is irrelevant. I love educators that take on even lesson planning, teachers that take on the 5 senses, like the use of 5
Yes.
senses. And he really considered everything he could to use his time so intentionally, turning down the lights and using your phone to engage right off the bat. I don't think he even really welcomed people into the keynote. Like people were still mingling, and then all of a sudden the lights went down. Everyone looked side to side and was like, what's going on? And then music started playing. So you were hearing something. And then those statements started coming on screen. During that time, people were like quickly like scurrying to their seats, sitting down, reading the phrases, following directions. It just was such a wonderful teachable moment, things that we could do with our students to consider those 5 senses and get the full class's attention. But his takeaway was beautiful. I mean, I saw it referenced every moment following about
Absolutely.
or green lights, you know.
Well, and one thing I love about Dave, and I know you and I both have seen him speak in a variety of settings, but he doesn't have to have the words. And what I mean by that is he is very good at giving you the questions and the thoughts so that you can reflect and create your own words. And that was evident in all of social media I saw afterwards, talking to people afterwards. He does such a beautiful job of having people reflect internally that then makes them change. Versus sometimes people are very quick to like hand you like here's what needs to be changed, or here's how you can be better and different. He doesn't. He gives you kind of these tools, and he's like encourages you to reflect, so then you can make the change. And I think there is some that's really powerful, but I think there's some kind of beautiful message in that. And it's always cool to see him do that and then hear the reflection afterwards. He's got those perfectly timed questions, and he does it just in like, that's just him. He does that so well in his day-to-day life, which is so cool.
If you friends are not connected to Dr. Dave Schmittou, obviously he's on the Teach Better team. You can connect with him a bunch of different ways on our website, but also somebody that if you want to bring him into your staff or school, like he does that constantly. I was just with him at a school district yesterday here in Illinois. So he's been on the road already since the conference, working his tail off. So I don't know how he does it. Other educators that I know that we're not going to be able to highlight everybody at this event, but if you were learning alongside Tom Schimmer or Dr. Neil Gupta or Lindsay Titus, or just there were so many educators there that are well connected to the Teach Better team. If you are looking to connect with them, if we could help in any way, shape, or form, please let us know.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
So much to celebrate. So much.
Yeah, and continue to follow the hashtag #TeachBetter22. There's still lots of reflection, lots of kind of how teachers are taking the messages and going forward and taking them back to their classroom. There's so many cool things still happening as a result of the last few days. So continue to follow us. I feel like my social media is still just constant. Yeah.
Well, and I know there were so many educators there that had like fangirl moments like I did, of educators that we want you to, yes, meet them in person, but then like stay connected. Like I had some people tell me they loved Alexis Shepard. They loved Danae Acker. They loved Becky Stexer, CJ Reynolds. Dave Burgess was there. Tara Martin. Tisha was there. Tisha Richmond. It was an endless supply of just really, really good educators doing good work. Darren Pepper was there, Brandon Beck. I mean, it just was like constant. So if you connected with somebody, maybe you don't know how to find them on social media, or maybe you got a picture with them, but you don't remember their name. Like, I know it's lame, but feel free to ask Katie and I. We will know who they are, and we'd love to connect you with them. And I just want to make sure that a great conversation you had this weekend doesn't get lost. So if you're struggling in any way, I just please let us know. This is all about connections. So if we can help you solidify any of those, personally, Joshua Stamper gave me a hug on Saturday, and like, not to brag, but I like made him like cry a little bit, and I was like, day made. It was epic.
I'm think you've forgotten that I gave you a hug on one of the days. I don't remember which one, but you didn't seem to highlight that. I don't get it.
No one cares. Also, wait, can I give a shout out? So Brittany Hodges is an educator that attended who saw that I was sick on Friday and then brought me a care package Saturday morning. Holy moly, by the way, Brittany, you're the bomb.co. Because I used everything in that care package when I got back on Sunday and my day was made. So appreciate you. So
she did even find me to tell me how great that care package was. So it definitely made your weekend.
And it had like eye patches and like face stuff. Oh my God, it was set. I like did a spa day on Sunday. I was like, oh, this is the best.
It was funny because you had the exact same reaction. You did the same motion when you showed it to me. You're like, look, there's a face mask, there's eye patches. It was the same. I'm pretty sure it was the same time of day as well. Just a few days ago.
Morning challenges. Here we go. We'll be right back. The people picking on you in the comments about the fact that you hugged somebody is awesome.
That's what I'm saying. People, this is a big deal, but Rae doesn't seem to think so. Fine, whatever.
I'm just saying, some people are warm and fuzzy. Other people are Katie Miglin.
Yes. We don't, that's a different Wednesday wake up. Jeff, take care of yourself. Come back so I don't have to have this conversation about feelings, please.
Exactly. So good.
Okay, so challenge.
Yeah, my challenge is like super basic. So I don't know if you want to go like your own challenge. What's your plan?
I mean, mine might be kind of basic because it's piggybacking off of what we've been talking about. But my challenge, and this is really a challenge to myself as well, because it's something I'm going to work on this week, but find someone, whether or not you were at the Teach Better conference or not, find someone in your virtual world. We just witnessed all these virtual connections happening in real life. And so find someone in your virtual space that you can reach out to and continue a conversation or spark a conversation. Maybe they posted something a week ago that you're like, it's still resonating with you. Maybe it was someone you just met in person this weekend. Whatever it is, I want you to reach out to someone, DM them, send them an email, and just continue the conversation to establish more of a relationship than just liking.
The easiest way to do that, friends, if you're nervous, if you don't know how to reach out, send them a thank you. Like that, it can be very basic, right? Thank you for either this message, and you can link a tweet that they sent you or sent out to the community. Thank you for XYZ. Find a way to thank them that will spark conversation. Or if you have a funny thing you could reference, like that's always good. But I love that challenge because that gives them all day today, all day Thursday, and all day Friday to like move forward, to step into that challenge, and they'll be set for the week.
I love it. Yeah.
So good.
And if you make a connection, tag us later. Like tell us how it's going. If it becomes a thing, let us know. We'd love to hear about the relationships. Yeah.
So good. A few reminders because I feel like I've been living in a tunnel the last week. So like few like Teach Better family reminders. Do not forget, teachbetter.com is still up and running like I don't know how. There are blogs being published every single day, podcasts being published every single day. If you're looking for your next way to learn, yes, attending a conference is great, but don't forget there's a lot of opportunities over at teachbetter.com. Ambassador applications open November 1st, so throw that on your calendar so you don't forget. It'll take like 15 minutes to apply, so no stress. You can do that over at teachbetter.com/ambassadors. And also, we have a Sunday show starting back up again this coming Sunday with fun interviews and panels and everything else. That's with the one and only Brad Hughes and myself. So we are so excited to start that again Sunday evening as your Sunday weekly warm-up. We cannot wait for you to see the lineup for this Sunday. Should we spoil that or should it be a surprise?
Obviously spoil, because we do whatever we want on these Wednesday shows.
We do. We do whatever we want. Oh my gosh. Is this really this week? Okay. I'll tell you.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure you're going to have to spoil it now. You can't just end on that.
So to be honest, when I said that, I had no idea who was going to be on the show. So I was like, I could spoil it. That means I have to look it up. Whatever. Guys, okay. Legit. See, this is the Teach Better Team way. Is like, you think that you're going to take a little bit of a lull and then you go back up again. This weekend, this Sunday weekly warm up is a panel, which are so good. It's with Allison Epsy, Marcus Billion, Brad Hughes, Joshua Stamper, and myself. And we're talking about new staff development and retention.
I have no words. I can't decide if I'm more excited about the topic or the people or combination.
I can't wait. It'll be so much fun. So don't forget to join us Sunday, because apparently we're having like this epic panel. Who planned this? Thanks, Brad Hughes.
Good job, Brad. Way to make it awesome.
Yep. All right, friends, we'll see you later. Happy Wednesday. We hope you get some incredible energy to persevere through the rest of the week.
Yep.
Bye, guys.